So today we're going to try and solve a real puzzle coming out of the world of aviation, and it's all about London's Heathrow Airport. You see, it's absolutely smashing records, it's winning awards, it's busier than it has ever been. So why on earth is it making less money?
That right there is the big question for this whole explainer. It just doesn't seem to add up, does it? I mean, more customers should equal more profit. But as we're about to see, the story behind the numbers is, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. So first things first, let's just focus on the good news, because you have to understand from an operations standpoint, Heathrow is at the absolute top of its game right now. Get this, in the third quarter of 2025, Heathrow handled a staggering 23.4 million passengers. And that's not just a good number, it is the single strongest quarter in the airport's entire history, ever. And if you zoom in even closer, just on the month of August alone, the number is even wilder. Over 8 million people came through those terminals. That has never happened before at any European airport in a single month. And look, this isn't just about cramming more people through the doors. The experience they're delivering is genuinely world-class. It's the most punctual major hub in all of Europe. You're almost guaranteed to fly through security in under 5 minutes. And your bags? They're pretty much always going to be there when you land. To top it all off, it's officially the #1 most connected airport on the entire planet. By every metric, it's a huge success. Okay, so everything sounds amazing, right? Record numbers, happy customers. Well, this is where our story takes a very sharp and very confusing turn. Because behind all that incredible performance, the financial picture looks completely different. Yep, you're seeing that right. Despite all of that success, Heathrow's adjusted pre-tax profit, that's basically what it earns before taxes, fell by a whopping 38%. So on one hand, you've got record crowds, and on the other, profits are just falling off a cliff? How is that even possible?
This chart really gets to the heart of the problem. You see, their revenue, the money coming in, it did go up, but only by a little bit, 2%. At the same time, their operations costs, the money going out, surged by 5%. And when your expenses are growing more than twice as fast as your income, your profits get absolutely crushed. And that's how you end up with that massive 38% drop.
And you can see how Heathrow's own leadership is talking about this. The CFO, Sally Ding, is quite rightly focusing on all the positives, the great customer experience. It's a really tricky balancing act, trying to deliver that amazing service while also keeping the business financially healthy. So let's break down exactly what's putting Heathrow in this financial pressure cooker. It really boils down to two main culprits that have them in a very, very tight spot. So problem number one is that fundamental imbalance we just saw. It's simple, brutal math. Costs are just growing way faster than income. But why? Well, these increases aren't random. They're being driven by very specific things. The airport has to spend more on security, there are higher government payroll taxes, and, keeping an airport that busy, running that smoothly, costs a lot in maintenance. And on top of all of that, a big policy change that got rid of tax-free shopping for tourists is still hitting their retail income pretty hard. And then we have the second major problem, and it's a huge one. This number right here. Heathrow is running at 99% of its total capacity. For all intents and purposes, it is completely full. This is what's known as a capacity ceiling. The airport is legally capped at 480,000 flights a year. The highway analogy is perfect here. Think about it. When a highway is at 99% capacity during rush hour, you can't just magically squeeze more cars onto it. You're just stuck. There's no more room to grow. So, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Your costs are rising, and there's literally no more room to grow your business. So what's the solution? Well, Heathrow's answer is one of the biggest, boldest infrastructure bets in UK history. They've put forward a plan for a truly massive expansion, costing £49 billion. And the really key thing here is that this isn't supposed to come from taxpayer money. The airport says it's going to fund this entire gigantic project privately. And just look at the scale of this thing. It's immense. The number of flights per year would leap from 480,000 to over 750,000. And passenger capacity, it would almost double, all the way up to 150 million people a year. This isn't just a small tweak. It's a complete transformation of the airport. Of course, you can't just decide to do something this big on your own. It needs government approval. So far, the UK government has sounded supportive, but the final official decision on whether this plan can go ahead is expected by the end of November 2025. So we're getting close.
So why does the fate of one airport's expansion plan matter so much? I mean, who cares, right? Well, the truth is, this decision is about way more than just Heathrow itself.
For the entire United Kingdom, the stakes here are enormous. Proponents say this project could boost the whole country's economy, create tens of thousands of jobs, and massively increase cargo capacity at what's already Britain's most valuable port. It's an economic argument as much as it is an aviation one.
And you've got to remember, all of this is happening in a fiercely competitive global market. Right now, Heathrow is #1 for connectivity, but its rivals, airports like Istanbul and Amsterdam, they're growing fast and they are climbing those rankings. In this business, if you stand still, you're actually falling behind.
So we end up right back where we started, with a really critical question. Heathrow is facing a paradox created by its own incredible success. Its response is a monumental £49 billion bet on growth. So is it the right bet? Is it the necessary move to secure Britain's economic future? Or is it a massive gamble? That's the decision on the table. Thanks for joining us.